Hi guys, it's Morgan, and today I'm going to be talking about Episode 3 of Season 2 of Riverdale, Chapter 16, The Watcher in the Woods. Now, if you haven't seen the episode, this video will contain spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, stop watching the video now, go watch the episode, and then come back. Or if you don't care about being spoiled, keep watching. So here's my review of Episode 3 of Season 2 of Riverdale, Chapter 16, The Watcher in the Woods. The episode starts with Kevin walking into the woods and meeting up with another boy. And while they kiss, they hear gunshots, and Kevin finds the car that Moose and Midge are in, and Midge comes out of the car and goes to Kevin for help. Hermione is on her way to bring coffee to Hiram, when Veronica says that she'll bring the coffee to him, but Hermione tells Veronica that she has business with Hiram. Then Hiram comes out of his study and Veronica asks him if she can have her friends over to watch the premiere of The Bachelorette, and Hiram says she can. Reggie tells Archie and the rest of the football team that Moose and Midge are at the hospital because Moose was shot, so practice is canceled. Archie asks Kevin what he was doing at the spot where Moose and Midge were, but Kevin says that he was just jogging. Archie asks his friends if they can now agree that there's a killer on the loose, but Betty says that they don't know if the three crimes are related. Veronica tells her friends that she wants them to officially meet her dad, and then Archie goes to the hospital with the football team to see Moose, and Jughead leaves to go to Southside High to meet with his peer mentor. But Betty wants him to stay at Riverdale High, and he tells her he will be fine. Kevin tells Betty what he was really doing in the woods, and he also promises Betty he won't go back. But unknown to them, Cheryl is listening to them, which definitely can't be good. Archie and Reggie are at the hospital with Moose, and Archie learns from Moose that the person who shot him was wearing a black hood. And when Archie asks if the person had green eyes, Midge says that their eyes were blank, and it was like there wasn't even a person behind them, and it was the devil's eyes. Jughead goes to Southside High and meets Tony Topaz, who gives him a tour of the school. After the tour, he tells her that he's a loner and is just going to sit by himself to get through this. But Tony tells Jughead that if he wants to get through this, he should sit with the serpents. Archie tells Fred that Moose and Midge described the same person that shot Fred, but Fred isn't sure. And when Archie says that he thinks they should have a gun, Fred says that they should let the cops handle it and they won't have a gun at the house. At Veronica's house, Archie tells Betty, Jughead, and Veronica that it seems like no one cares about what's going on, and he feels like the shooter is targeting them. Then Hiram comes into the room to meet Betty, Jughead, and Archie, and he tells them that sometimes the police aren't the solution, and that people should take matters into their own hands and protect themselves. And based on the look on Archie's face, he was taking that advice. And when Hiram invited Archie to come over for dinner to talk to him about his plan to protect Riverdale, I was just thinking, I don't think Hiram is the person Archie should be taking advice from. Then Archie goes to the box where he's keeping the gun that Dilton gave him, and he also has a comic called The Red Circle. And when he was looking at the comic, I was thinking, is he planning to be some kind of superhero for Riverdale? And in a way, he was. Hermione tells Veronica not to push Archie coming over for dinner. And she also tells Veronica that Veronica wants Hiram to change overnight and be friends with her friends. And she says that will happen, but there's no need to rush it. It's clear that Hermione suspects something bad will happen if Archie came to dinner. Before going to school, Betty brings Alice a package that was on the porch. And at school, Archie gathers some of his friends and tells them that they have to protect friends and family, and they create a watch group called the Red Circle. And when Dilton asks what they should do if they run into the killer, Archie says that they should call Sheriff Keller. At Southside High, Jughead asks his teacher, Mr. Phillips, about the school paper and says that he wants to write on it. And Mr. Phillips tells him that he'll read some of Jughead's articles online and let him know. It's really nice to see Jughead be so passionate about something. Betty confronts Kevin again about meeting guys in the woods, and Kevin tells her that it's none of her business. And also, unknown to them, Cheryl is listening to them again, and it seems like she agreed with Kevin. Then Cheryl tells Betty that Kevin wants validation, even if it means Betty doesn't approve. Veronica tells Archie that dinner will be a test for Hiram, to see if he can be a father for one night with no agenda. And when she said that, I wasn't expecting Hiram to pass the test. When Betty gets home, Alice and Hal show her a letter that Black Hood wrote Alice and he wants Alice to publish. And in the letter, it says that he shot Fred, Moose, and Midge and killed Miss Grundy. And when Betty asks if they're sure it's real, Alice says it's real and reveals that Black Hood also sent Fred's wallet and Miss Grundy's glasses. Now things are getting serious. Archie and his friends are passing out flyers about Black Hood, while Sheriff Keller reads the letter that Black Hood wrote Alice to Mayor McCoy. And it's revealed that the reason Black Hood is doing what he's doing is because he doesn't believe that the people of Riverdale are innocent, and he's going after people who he thinks are sinners. Sheriff Keller and Mayor McCoy don't want Alice to print the letter because it would cause a panic, but Alice tells them that she already made a copy for tomorrow's news. There are times when I don't like Alice, but you can't deny that she's always one step ahead of everyone else. Mr. Phillips tells Jughead that he'll reopen the school newspaper as long as there isn't any gangs or jingle-jangle, which shouldn't be a problem for Jughead. Sheriff Keller confronts Archie about the flyers, and when he tells Principal Weatherby that Archie formed his own private army, Principal Weatherby says that the Red Circle is a school club and that he can't fault students for trying to protect each other. I was really happy that Principal Weatherby defended Archie. I didn't think he was going to. Jughead and Tony are at the school newspaper room at Southside High when students who are serpents come in and invite Jughead to hang out with them. But Jughead tells them that he appreciates what the serpents have done for him and FP, but he's done. And you just know that that's not going to end well. Polly tells Alice and Hal that she's leaving Riverdale because she's scared that Black Hood will come after her since she isn't married and is pregnant with her cousin's babies. And to be honest, I don't blame her for being scared. Kevin is at the hospital visiting Moose, and Moose asks Kevin what he was doing in the woods when he found them, but Kevin turns the question back on Moose and asks him what he was doing with Midge. Moose also asks Kevin if he's okay, and Kevin tells him that he's been making a lot of bad decisions lately, and he's been lying to his dad and sneaking around the woods. And Moose says that for guys like them at a town like Riverdale, they don't have a lot of options, and if something bad happens, they go for it. And before Kevin leaves, Moose tells him that he can come back and talk, which was a sweet moment. Hermione tries to warn Veronica about Archie having dinner with them, and Veronica tells Hermione to tell her that Hiram is dangerous, but she won't. And it's not that big of a surprise that she won't. Obviously, she's not going to tell Veronica that, but at the same time, it shows that Hermione knows that something bad is going to happen at the dinner. Archie gets into Reggie's car and they drive around looking for Black Hood. Betty visits Jughead at the newspaper office at Southside High, and Jughead tells her that the rival gang, the Ghoulies, deal drugs. And when Betty asks Jughead if it's wise that he write about that, Jughead says to Betty that he thought that she liked him reckless. And then they start kissing, but they're interrupted when Tony walks in. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm worried that Tony is going to come between Betty and Jughead. While helping her with her dress, Hiram tells Hermione that sound carries, signaling he heard Hermione talking to Veronica, and he also tells Hermione not to poison Veronica against him. And you could just tell by the look on Hermione's face that she was pretty scared when she found out Hiram heard them. At Pop's, Cheryl watches Kevin run into the woods, and then we see Ethel walking home when a car starts following her, and when that happened, I was like, no, we can't lose Ethel. We already lost Barb in Stranger Things. We can't lose Ethel in Riverdale. Jughead is in the newspaper room, and Archie gets a phone call from Ethel, and he tells her they're on their way. And when they find her, she tells Archie that she was walking home and the car was following her, but she didn't see the driver. Betty and Cheryl find Kevin in the woods, and he tells Betty that they have different options, and that if Betty can't accept what Kevin does, they're not really friends. And I felt really bad for Betty, but I also understood what Kevin was saying. Jughead is walking in the halls at Southside High when the lights go off and he also hears a noise. He tries to leave through the exit door, but it doesn't open, so he goes around a corner and is then beaten up. But we don't see who beats him up, we just see a shadow. But when that was happening, I was just hoping he was okay. Archie is talking to Fred about the dinner he's having at Veronica's house, and Fred tells him to be careful with Hiram, which was good advice. Betty is cleaning up Jughead's wounds, and it's clear that he didn't tell her what actually happened because she thinks it was a motorcycle accident. And after Betty leaves, Jughead tells Tony not to tell Betty, and Tony tells Jughead that they warned him about the Ghoulies, the rival gang of the school. I really don't like that Jughead is keeping this from Betty. I mean, she's most likely going to find out, and that's not going to be good. During dinner, Hiram invites Archie to his study, and that obviously makes Veronica nervous. And I didn't like that Hermione called Veronica a poor little princess. Polly says goodbye to Betty, and in Hiram's study, he tells Archie not to sneak into Veronica's room, and also not to hurt Veronica. And he also tells Archie that sometimes defending yourself isn't enough, and that he should strike back. Which is not the kind of advice that Archie should listen to. Betty tries to call Kevin, but he doesn't answer. Then she knocks on his door, and then it cuts to Kevin in the woods, and we see him talking to someone in a car, and he goes in, and then gets stabbed. And for a second I was worried, but then it's revealed that that wasn't real and that he didn't end up going in, and I guess that was just in his mind, and then he left. Which was good. Kevin sneaks into his house when he sees his dad, Sheriff Keller, waiting for him. And when Sheriff Keller asks Kevin where he was, he starts by saying he was with Betty, but Sheriff Keller tells him not to lie to him because Betty was there looking for him. And he also tells Kevin that with everything going on, he has to know that Kevin is safe. And he says that he knows there are some things they don't talk about, but maybe they should start. And then they hug, which was really sweet. Veronica tells Hiram and Hermione that she wants a more active role in Lodge Industries, and Hiram agrees. Jughead sits with the serpents because he knows he will be protected. In the hallway, Betty sees Kevin, and she wants to go up to him, but when Kevin sees her, he turns around and walks away. And I felt bad for Betty, but I also understood Kevin. Then, Dilton films Archie and the rest of the football players filming a video for Black Hood, basically telling him that they're going to come after him. And then it's revealed that Hiram is watching the video, And I'm still not entirely sure if Hiram is involved in Black Hood, but he seemed very impressed and happy about the video. So we now know that Black Hood's motive is going after people he thinks are sinners. And in my last video, I said that my suspects were Hiram, which is possible, but maybe obvious. And I also said that I was wondering if Archie's mom Mary was involved, but at this point, that's probably not true. But that would be a really big twist. Also, I'm wondering if it's Betty's dad, Hal, because if you look at the guy in the Black Hood, it kind of looks like Hal, but I'm not sure why he would do that. At this point, it could be anyone. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments who your suspects are, if you have any. And if you want to see any of my future videos, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!